Good evening from PLUGHITZ Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott. Oh, he is Avram, but he's quiet.
I'm Avram.
There we go. And we are here with episode 545 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, for Sunday, December 15th, 2019. This show is a proud part of the Tech Podcasts Network. If it's tech, it's here. This week, Google's up for a chat, Microsoft's making a tower, and Hulu's not binging on ads. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, on any of the podcatchers, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the Podcast Play app, Spotify, TuneIn, or any of the others, on any of our live stream platforms, livestream.com, Mixer, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook Live and YouTube Live, or of course on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to f5live.tv/join us, and there you can chat with us in the studio as we talk about the topics. We always love to hear what you have to say, so definitely join in on that. If you can't do that, that is okay. You can always go to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the different ways that you can subscribe on all of the platforms. And with that, I think that's the spiel. Avram, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad.
Has some of the Black Friday-ish time calmed down for you some?
Yeah, some. Some
is better than it's gotten worse.
Now I have to actually buy presents for the people I know.
I know. It's always the bizarre part of the season is when you realize, oh right, I have to participate now. I've been writing and publishing stuff. Now I have to actually participate.
Yeah, I think everybody's just going to get Tom's Hardware merch.
I saw that. There was a whole bunch of...
Yes. Yeah, we have a merch store now on Teespring. People will be able to get to it from our homepage. But I'm still pushing the people who are totally in charge of the merch store to add some like kid-friendly or like child and baby clothes, because I'd like to get some for my daughter, for my kids, and can't because they're all adult right now. But anyway, there's some cool stuff there, but that's not why I mention it. I'm just mentioning it because I have no other ideas. What to buy people.
Which, considering how many things you have either written or been involved in publishing over the last couple of weeks.
No, I mean, I have ideas. I have ideas. They're all expensive ideas.
Right.
I have a very ambitious idea about building all my friends' arcade machines, but when I do the math on how much that's going to cost, it doesn't seem quite as good.
Fair enough. That sounds like just from a time perspective, like quite an investment.
Yeah. Time and the money, and so yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I also am in that same kind of like weird boat where I don't know what to get for lots of people, including the person in my family whose name I have in our extended family gift thing. I have no idea. So that'll be fun. But we've got 9 days to figure.
Get them a wrist rest. That's my that's the best gift. I just can't give it to everybody, particularly people who know that I recommended it. But last week I recommended to a lot of people to get the Kingston HyperX wrist rest, because it is the best wrist rest I've ever used, and it's like $16.
Oh wow.
And It's got like the cooling gel, and you just and a lot of people don't have wrist rests, and B, if they do, it's not probably not as good as this. So you know that that's a choice. That's a good one. It's just not the kind of thing I could buy for my wife. Well,
Sure.
I mean, I could buy that, but not as like her main
Uh-huh.
present.
Sure. But I might be able to get it
And
for the cousin's boyfriend, is what you're saying.
yeah, yes, that's a good gift for somebody who you don't know super well. Not a very intimate gift, but a very useful gift that they'll
Sure.
really appreciate.
Sure. That's actually a really clever idea, and I appreciate that. It has just been added to my short list while we've been talking. Wonderful. Well, how about, Avram, we get down to some news, because we've got some stuff this week.
Sounds good.
This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop or tablet or phone, an Xbox One, S or X, or a myriad of other things like VR and AR headsets, and a whole lot more, you can find them at the Microsoft Store. And right now, there's all kinds of deals. There's big savings on the Surface Pro 7 with the type cover, as well as up to $400 off of non-Microsoft PCs, $300 off the new Surface Laptop 3, and a whole lot more. And you can find all of that by going to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right. So we talked about it a little while ago. RCS chat. RCS is the rich communication service that is the open standard protocol, basically the third generation SMS, MMS, RCS. It's intended to bring a number of the modern features that we expect in messaging systems to standard text messaging on your phone. It has been a bizarre battle in getting it into the marketplace, especially here in the US. There are places in Europe that have had it for a year or more. But here in the US, it's been a massive problem. And it finally took, a couple of months ago, it took the 4 major carriers coming together and saying, we're not waiting for Google. We're going to do it ourselves. And that got Google moving. And this week, all Android phones in the US now have the ability to add RCS. Currently, there's a process that you have to go through to get it. You have to install a system plugin called Carrier Services, and then you have to install the newest version of the Messages app, both of which are linked from our article. They both come from the store and from Google. And I have done it. I have installed both of them. I have been testing it out across a couple of devices that I have. I'll tell you, the couple of things that we talked about last time that I was excited about, I was happy to have. Things like delivery receipts and read receipts are nice. We expect them everywhere else. They're kind of the ubiquitous features of all messaging systems today, except the most ubiquitous messaging system, which is texting. So it's nice to see some more modern features come over to the standard text messaging platform. Now, it's important to remember, while this is an open standard, Apple has not decided to support it because they have their own proprietary version, iMessage. And so will they do it? They'll probably get pressured into it in a decade or so, but for now, they don't have any intentions on it. But just like Apple and all your Apple friends get features, Android and all your Android friends now get features. So have you given it a shot, Avram?
No, I was just clicking the button to install it. Install it while you were talking. I mean, so that I can message you after. But I'm glad that we're getting more that we're getting that we're getting this added feature that we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah. Since 2016 when the protocol was finalized. I mean, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I
That's
mean
so long.
it's it's good. I mean it's good that we're going to get, a better chat experience, text messaging experience. It probably will lead me to use SMS more. Um, but it's interesting to me how there's kind of always a sort of hierarchy of messaging, right? In your life. Now, when we were younger, the hierarchy of messaging was mail, snail mail, the phone, and come over to someone's house. Those are the those were the methods, right?
Indeed.
Now, now the hierarchy of messaging is email, sort of the bottom. If I'm not really need to talk to you right away, I send you email. Then it's something that is an IM program like Instant Messenger or like Facebook Instant Messenger or
Facebook or WhatsApp or something
or
like that.
whatever, right? Then a level above that to like more red alert is SMS. Then the level above that is to actually call someone. Um, in fact, I find being called so super annoying. Like I
I
I
know.
actually like was trying to sign up for a kind of important financial service the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and the place insisted on calling me while I was at work, and I was so annoyed. Like, don't call me. Like, I mean, and this is especially true at my job where I have no privacy whatsoever
Mm-hmm.
and the phone signal is terrible. But but yeah, it's ugh. I mean, so now I wonder with the RCS, is this going to make SMS like is this going to bring SMS to the same call level, like laid back level as like regular instant messenger? I already know people who use SMS as their instant messaging platform,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak.
Well, I think I think there'll be a couple of things that will need to come together for that to be a true reality. First is the your phone app on Windows is going to have to be able to support it, because one of the reasons why people kind of default to like Facebook or WhatsApp or something is it doesn't matter where you are, you can get to it. You know what I mean? And I think
That's
that's
true. The Windows Phone, yeah, the app for Windows Phone, the Windows 10 built-in app is pretty for. I mean, you could receive instant messages on it, but you can't really see all the threads. Last I checked, it's not been very good.
the your phone app with the what was it, the September update that came out in November, got way better, and you can even make and receive calls in it now. I think as of this week.
Yeah,
So, that'll need to improve because the reason why I default to Messenger for the most part or Skype is because I can do it on my phone, I can do it on my PC, I can do it on even Mac. I can wherever I am, I can interact with it, and so I think that's one of the reasons why the messaging services have become so popular. Is it doesn't matter if you're on a phone, tablet, desktop, wherever you are, it works.
He,
So
there's also a little bit more privacy there, right, on instant messaging than on SMS. Because again, anyone who can SMS you can also call you.
that's true.
So
But on
you know,
Messenger, it's the same way. Anybody who can send you a message can also send you a call.
it's not a phone call.
That's true.
It's a video call. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a ridiculous distinction, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm old, but I just kind of see like calling someone on the phone is much more like serious than calling somebody um, on Facebook Messenger. Now, maybe it's a serious topic.
It's
I'm just saying.
fascinating because as you said it, I totally agree. It, and that's weird, right?
Because the thing is, I associate it's interesting, right? People used to call for fun. I used to talk. I used to have friends I would talk to on the phone for like hours.
Yeah,
When I was a teenager and a young adult, used to do that.
agreed.
Now I have friends. Now I almost never ever talk to people on the phone.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, maybe part of it is a function of my life. You know, I'm married. I have kids. I don't have the time to hang around and chat on the phone anyway. But I kind of associate the phone with like some kind of emergency, like someone's calling me to say that someone is in the hospital or died, or somebody just emptied my bank account.
yeah,
Like that's that's oh, you know, I either there's some type of emergency, like basically if you're calling me now, it's different when or in the case of it's my wife or me or whatever, that it's like we're calling to check in on like, hey, I'm gonna be late or whatever. But even that we usually do on text. So,
yeah.
you know, yeah, I don't know. Just my opinion about phone calls has really changed. And so I don't know, even if RCS is really good, whether that will change my behavior anyway to use to because that would involve more people, you know, having my phone number, um, so the ability to call me. Um, so I don't know,
And you're generally the
but
ability to,
we always like a better service.
yeah. But like with a phone number, the ability to prevent somebody from interacting with you is way lessened versus Messenger or WhatsApp, where you can just say, "Oh, block," and that person or that
Yeah,
account just goes away. From a consumer standpoint, that's not easy to do on a phone.
I mean you can do it, but yeah, it's not easy to do on a phone. But also, I mean, I don't know. It also depends on how you sort of prioritize your alerts, right? Like I don't have Facebook alert me about like on my phone about messages right now, but
Right.
SMS I do,
Right.
right? So I don't know. It depends. Like so, in the case of my wife, for example, I know if I SMS her, her phone is going to make a giant Godzilla noise, right? So if I see a cool link or something in the middle of the night, I'm going to send it to her. I won't send it on SMS because it's just going to like wake her up.
Sure.
So
Interesting. Mine makes the portal gun noise.
mine does not make noise.
I have a problem. But it
No, you're doing what normal people do.
being too obsessed with a game that came out 12 years ago. I don't know. That's
No, just setting like personalized noises.
way less easy to do on an iPhone, by the way. Anyway, it took me 3 computers in like a half hour. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so it like we said at the top, it's here. You're gonna need to do some stuff to get it on your device, and we've got the instructions on the website PLUGHITZlive.com. So if you want to do it, you want all of these cool new features, minus the one that was skipped, which is end-to-end encryption, which is supported by the RCS chat standard and is not supported by Android. Don't know why, whatever. You'll get everything else, though. So if you want it, PLUGHITZlive.com, you'll see the instructions there on the RCS article. Couldn't come up with that word. Whoa. My bad. I I hit the wrong button. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch. It's proudly powered by PureVPN. Just because RCS doesn't have encryption and protection doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. With a service like PureVPN, you can obfuscate your browsing history from either your ISP or from Facebook and Google. You get the ability to change your location and hide your IP address. So if you're using, like we were just talking about, if you're using RCS, which works over data, it will protect that as well. And right now, you can get a 5-year plan for $1.32 a month, including all of the cool features that we just talked about and a whole lot more. And there's a 31-day money-back guarantee. If you sign up, you don't like it, no worries, you can get your money back. You can find that deal by going to piltchpoint.live/purevpn. All right, Avram, you have got something that I'm pretty excited to hear you talk about, because I set up the relationship with one of them.
Yes, thank you for getting me one of these to test. So for a long time, I've really wanted to find more ways to be productive while standing in line, to be able to write articles, or, now we do have, obviously, the number one way to do that is to use a phone or a tablet and type on that. Uh, and that's all well and good. But what if you couldn't even do that because you are wearing AR glasses? Um, Not that I have any, but or what if what if you had a computer in one hand and you needed to really, like a tablet, like a Windows tablet or something, and you really wanted to be able to type quickly in the other hand? Well, then you would need a different type of typing device. Ideally, in this world, you would have a keyboard drone that would just sort of float in front of you and you'd be able to type with two hands.
I love it.
But until someone invents that, um, we have things like the deck of text. So this is a neat little Bluetooth keyboard that has been on the market for a couple of years now, but I had not gotten to check it out until now. Uh, what it does is, as you can see, it doesn't have like all the keys you need to type by hitting one key at a time. It has 10 keys, right?
Yes.
2 on the top, 4 down each side. So how do you actually use it? Well, some of the things, like a few of the letters you get just by tapping one key. Like if I just want A, boom, I can just tap that. But if I want, say, K, which is written under here under the A key in red, then I have to hold down the button for red and the A key, and now I get K. And if you can see this, there's just a whole bunch of different symbols and actions written down on here that you can make through different key combinations. And there's a fairly large learning curve, which I am in now, because you have to kind of develop your muscle memory to say, oh, okay, I want K and that's this. So far, I'm still trying to learn the different strokes and how to do them, and also just the best way to hold this in one hand, because even though you could hold this in two hands, it doesn't seem like what you would really want to do, because what you really want to do, if you wanted all to think in two hands, you could probably have a little tiny QWERTY keyboard. But the goal of this is obviously that you can use it in one hand. This reminds me a great deal of a time about 20 years ago when I was an editor at about.com, and I had a writer writing about wearables for me. This is before people thought of a watch as a wearable. This guy's name was Steve Mann. He's still around. He's a professor at University of Toronto, and ever since the 80s, he has been building his own AR headsets. Um, so what he would do is he would have this giant headset on his head, and then he invented something that wasn't this, but was a similar concept called a keyer. He called it, and he would use it to type into his headset. Um, Now, today there aren't a ton of headsets on the market that you would really want to use a keyboard with. First of all, there aren't a ton of AR headsets you could just walk around with. I think about maybe the Android ones from companies like Third Eye. You probably could run a regular Android app and pair this via Bluetooth and do things that way. Um, but um, so in that respect, for a lot of people, this may be ahead of its time. But if you're doing something like you've got a Windows computer and you're holding it in front of you and you just want to type and you're holding the PC in one hand, this will allow you to type with the other. Um, so, and obviously, once it gets into your glasses, this kind of thing would be invaluable. So it's really neat for any of those purposes. Still got to learn quite a bit about it and see how comfortable I can get with stretching my fingers this way. That's something I'm still trying to figure out. Am I is can I get a comfort zone with moving my fingers back and forth like this and holding it? Um, and and then we'll see how fast I can type. But this is a really I haven't seen anything else in the market like it. It's really a one of a kind product, um, and it's available on Amazon for $125, which no doubt is a lot of money for a Bluetooth keyboard, but there's nothing like this. So, what you're paying for is the innovation. Um, then I have another input method here to show while we're talking. That is, I said there's nothing like the Decatex. There's nothing that operates like it, but this is perhaps for a similar purpose. And this here is called the tap strap. So it is a set of rings that you put on your hand. I'll try to put it on now. I have to say not it's not pleasant to use while you're doing other stuff like typing. So I put it on when I need it. It's like a pair of brass knuckles for communication, right?
I guess technically regular brass knuckles are for communication too, just a different type. They're a more abrupt type of communication.
Also, right. So this is also a Bluetooth device you can pair with anything that's Bluetooth capable, like your phone. Although there are dedicated phone apps for this that teach you how to use it. There are actually games you can play with it where you like do gestures to like fire and move. So I really think this is a cool idea, but it hasn't worked very well for me so far. I'm also learning the gestures for this. For example, just tapping one of each finger individually should be A, E, I, O, and U, the vowels. But when I'm doing it, for some reason, it's not always registering. Now, or it's registering something else. Part of the problem is that this can be it's hard to adjust, and it's quite loose. And so if you move your finger and this little nodule is not moving also, it doesn't know that you moved, right? So they have a large and a small size, and they sent us the large size. And if you think this was difficult for me to tighten on my hand, you should see what happened when my 7-year-old was trying it. It was not working. I mean, look, they didn't make it for him, but this is kind of a really neat concept. Again, would work great when you're walking around, but it also is really good and I suppose you could say that of the Decatex too. If you have something that's all the way across the room, like something you're doing on a projector, this could be a neat way to move around. It also has a mouse mode that you can use to actually move a pointer around. So I know this is more expensive than the deck of text. It's normally 200, and now it's I believe right about now it's on sale for 180. Uh, that's for the tap strap 2. There's also a tap strap 1, which doesn't have the mouse mode, and I'm not sure how much that is. But I was really fascinated. I'm really fascinated by both of these devices because they take something that we take for granted, our QWERTY keyboard, and they find a way to another innovative way of letting you do data entry in a situation where you normally wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
that's really interesting.
I'm working on an article comparing these, but the problem is, I really before I can make my final judgments about these, I have to get much better at using them, um, which is quite a learning curve, no doubt. But if you invest that kind of money in these, you're going to take the time to learn, and you're going to obviously have a really good use case uh, for these. So,
Sure.
and as time goes by, I hope there are more use cases um, for things like this because there'll be more devices that you can use. I mean, for example, um, I mean, I don't really think there's you could use these with a smart watch because there's not a lot of apps for typing on a smartwatch that require typing, but theoretically, that would be a good use case. There's just a lot of areas where, you need a small, simple way to type, a small way to type with just one hand. And these provide that when other things don't.
Yeah, that's that's interesting. I whenever we talk about a topic like this, I am taken back to one of my first CESs and sitting on the floor with a Palm Pre and writing an article on the Palm Pre and thinking, "Holy cow, there's got to be a better way." and and
Yeah,
ever
I mean,
since, we've been looking for that better way.
yeah, I mean, sitting on the floor, to be honest, I would just take my laptop out and sit and use it. Um, the real problem is when you're standing up, and you're having to, like when you're waiting in line
Yeah.
or you're walking around. I guess really bad idea to be doing writing when you're walking around, but I don't know. But if you're waiting in line, I mean, think of how much time we spend waiting in line for 45 minutes an hour. Having smartphones has really revolutionized waiting in line for anything because you can check your email, you can write things. But if I want to do something on a larger scale than is possible on my phone, um, perhaps I want to do it in Windows because I need to go into a desktop browser and access my company's CMS or something like that. My phone won't really cut it for that. So, you know, these are, you know, these provide a possible way of doing that, provided you also had like a 2-in-1 or something you could hold, or you had something going into your glasses. Um, what you know, of course, the other brute force method is to get one of those things that looks like a cigarette. What do you call those? People used to go around selling cigarettes wearing them.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Like what
the
they've
little
got the
tables or whatever.
yeah, like the hot dog guys at a baseball game.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what you call
I
that.
don't either.
Um, but I've seen those made for laptops. But talk about like you're going to carry your $1,000 laptop around on that, and you're going to walk, and someone's going to bump into you, and people are going to be annoyed because you know, if you think you had a big stomach regularly, having one that's like
Uh
juts
huh.
out 3 feet is, you know, not particularly polite.
Yeah. God forbid you're
So
standing in line for the Samsung press conference at CES. Somebody will deck you, taking up that much
probably, yeah.
space.
So yeah, yeah, no doubt. But I don't know. There has to be better ways of being productive when standing up, and these could be part of that solution.
Yeah, it's nice to see that there's people who are trying out ideas, right? Looking for ways to try and solve this problem, especially since we talked about last week, Qualcomm and Niantic are leaning into, AR headsets real hard right now. It'll be nice to have a control method that's a little more substantial than literal point and click in the air, like with the HoloLens. That's nice. Don't get me wrong. That's a nice thing, but something more substantial than that for typing, for more nuanced controls will definitely be nice. And something like the deck of text or the tap strap could certainly factor into that. And just for reference, right now the tap strap 1 is on Amazon for $119, and the tap strap 2 is on Amazon for $169. So not a bad savings there on that new one. Who knows how long that'll run for? By the time I'm done with this sentence, it may not be on sale anymore. But as of this moment, that's the price. So, obviously, you said that you're not quite near being able to write about this yet, right?
Maybe this week, maybe next week. I want to marinate on these a little longer, but I wanted to bring these on and show everyone because I thought they're kind of really neat.
And I can say I have experience with the deck of text myself, and you're absolutely right. The learning curve is steep, but I have seen several people. One person took to it like a fish to water. Mark, who has filled in on the show a couple of times, he took to it real quick. I've never seen somebody so just like, oh, I got it. And then obviously I've seen the founder. He uses it a lot, and he's real quick on it. So you can definitely get good at it. And I know I've seen people talk about it on like on Amazon and on the website where they have good things to say about it. So, there is a way past the learning curve. So, I've just never gotten there myself. I've tried. I've never gotten past the learning curve, but it's okay. I definitely look forward to seeing your final thoughts on it, and I look forward to what we talk about next. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. All the accessories you need to up your game on both PC and console are available from Razer. Whether you're looking for a new keyboard or mouse like what we use here in the studio, you're looking for a really high quality webcam with chroma key built in, or you're looking for a full system like the Razer Blade Stealth, you can get them all from Razer. And right now they have a holiday gift guide to help you figure out exactly what is for you in your price range and for your purposes. And you can find all of that by going to f5live.tv/Razer. So obviously the gaming news of the week, in a week where there was a lot of gaming news, the gaming news of the week was the Xbox Series X new console. We've known about Project Scarlet for a while, in little bits and pieces, but finally getting to see what it looks like, hear a name, see a logo, things like that, were really exciting. It's good to know, for one, that although there have been many changes inside of Microsoft under CEO Satya Nadella. The one thing that has not changed is the chaotic naming scheme that the company uses for their products. Because I can guarantee the confusion between the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X is going to be huge. But that's for retail and Microsoft to figure out, not for me. It's a weird name, and it certainly makes me feel like Windows Phone Series 7, which was another terrible name. But whatever, we know the name. Moving on. We also know what the console is going to look like. Now, it's weird. I'm just going to put it out there. It's weird. Console designers, especially for the last 3 or 4 generations for sure, have certainly taken their physical specs from dating back to the 60s entertainment center hardware so that the hardware could stack. But in the last couple of years, surround sound systems and even cable boxes are disappearing from people's setups with, Fire TV sticks and Roku sticks and sound bars and things like that. So Microsoft decided now would be the time to make a weird tower. It is the same height as the Xbox One X is wide. It is half the depth and double the height. So if you were to take an Xbox One X, lay it down, cut it in half, stack them on top of each other, and set it upright, you have an Xbox Series X. It is so bizarre. They did not officially give sizes. However, if you take the photo that was on the screen, look at the controller that's leaning up against it, you can extrapolate that it's about 11.5 inches by 4.25 by 4.25 ish, somewhere right in that range. So I don't know. It's like a tin of cookies. It's such a weird shape. Right, Avram? Isn't that weird? Your mic is not on.
Oops. Sorry.
No worries.
It seems like they're trying. It's more like a desktop.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying it to be a little bit more like a tower.
Yeah.
And that is very consistent with the fact that it's getting closer and closer to the kind of power and performance you expect from not a low-end desktop, but a high-end desktop.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about 8K gaming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, that's most PCs cannot do 8K gaming.
Right.
So the Series X, I mean, we don't really know what it's going to cost, but it's hard to believe that it's going to cost more than a $1,500 or $2,000 gaming PC, and those cannot play 8K games.
Right.
So that is, highly optimized. I wonder. I'm asking everybody this question: what effect do you think this is going to have on PC gaming? Do you think that as you're getting a more powerful console, some people are just going to stick with console and with the cheaper option of console?
If we were talking, if we were simply talking on the Sony side, because both consoles will come out next holiday. If we were just talking on, and both are going to be, crazy powerful, both will have the hardware to be able to support 8K gaming in the future and all those things. So if we were just to look at the Sony side and how that platform works, I would say emphatically no. But Microsoft has worked over the last year to really bring the Xbox platform way closer to a PC gaming experience with, being able to use keyboard and mouse instead of the controller and things like that. So maybe like there could be some effect, but the weird toxic nature of the PC versus console community in gaming is powerful. And there is a strong dislike of each other. So that will limit it some. So I don't know. There might be some, like, in the middle range, there might be some effect. In the high end range, the PC gamers are going to be PC gamers, and there's nothing that's ever going to change that. And the console gamers are going to be console gamers. But you might see some fluctuation in the middle. Some people who go, I may not need a PC anymore. I might, because the only thing I use it for is a little bit of gaming. This might be the way to go. You might see some of that this time around.
Yeah, I mean, because it really does sound impressive. Now, I play console, but I also do PC, and I have to say, obviously there's nothing quite like the experience of having your own PC, having control over the settings to that great degree, being able to tweak things like you can on a PC. So, I hope it doesn't harm the market too much, but it is getting to be really impressive in terms of the performance claims. I don't know when we're actually going to see games that support 8K.
It'll be a while. The hardware is not even going to officially support it at launch. It'll be added sometime down the line. The hardware can support it, but the platform will not. So that it'll be a future feature that they'll flip on at some point. But it'll be 4K out of the box. In fact, they are so focused on the 4K gaming that the launch trailer for the console on YouTube is in 4K. So they're definitely focused on it. We'll see when that 8K starts to go, but I'm excited about it. The shape is weird, but I'm not gonna lie, my entertainment center has this weird gap on either side of my stack of components, and I could easily push everything to one side and put it on the left or right, and it would fit in there perfectly. So for my particular setup, it's the ideal shape. But I would imagine for some people it might be an odd turnoff. Although, if you look at the possible renders of the PlayStation 5, hopefully it's just the developer box, because that thing is even more bizarre. Looks like something out of Star Wars. The two wings. Wait. This is going to be a weird generation of consoles. That's my guess. Nintendo, as usual, kicked it off by going totally mobile. And now Microsoft and Sony are going, all right, you're going to do something weird. We're going to do something weirder. Here you go. But they're all cool and all powerful systems. So I'm definitely excited about it. We will certainly hear more about it over the next year before it launches. Holiday 2020, which probably means a week and a half before Thanksgiving. If past console launches are any indication, Sony and Microsoft will launch about a week apart, a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving next year. But who knows? They're throwing everything off with the design. Who knows what any of this means? This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is proudly powered by RiffTrax. Make fun of movies or let these guys do it for you. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy, the former stars of Mystery Science Theater 3000, are back and doing what they do best, creating commentaries for Hollywood blockbusters and B-movie oddities like Feeders 2 Sleigh Bells. Whew, my goodness. Looks terrible. The way it works is for a couple of bucks, you download the MP3, play it along with your DVD, Netflix, Amazon, wherever that weird movie happens to exist, and laugh. They also do live events, and the live events tend to find their way over to the website, including one of my all-time favorites, the RiffTrax Live Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny is the dumbest movie you will ever see. And RiffTrax makes it funny, and you can get it for $2 off right now. And to find all of the films, both short films and feature length, and all of their prices, you can go to f5live.tv/RiffTrax with an X. If I remember correctly, Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny is actually the movie that was filmed here in the Tampa area. Anyway, that's not the important part. Let's talk about possibly the weirdest internet story in a while. So obviously, we talk a lot about security online and the dangers of being online, hacking and identity theft and malware and all of that. When we talk about online security, the last thing that you are expecting is to hear a story about a man who was held up at gunpoint for somebody trying to steal a domain name. So here's what happened. In 2017, an Iowa man, Rossi Adams, lost access to a domain name that he owned. Don't remember the domain name. It's it seemed like it was a revenge porn site. Doesn't matter. He lost access to it. He didn't have his domain on auto renew or whatever stupid thing. The domain went away. As happens, as Avram and I can both personally attest to, somebody will register it out from under you and try and charge you to give it back. In this case, the person who registered it wanted $20,000 for it. Nothing compared to what Pepsi paid for their domain originally. And so there was a whole bunch of back and forth, and Adams decided, no, not paying 20 grand. Instead, he and his cousin drove to the guy's house. The cousin, with a note and a gun, broke into the house and demanded that the guy follow the instructions to transfer the domain to Adams' GoDaddy account. Things go sideways. Both of them end up getting shot. The domain owner was just kind of hit in the leg. I don't know what happened to Hopkins, which is the cousin. Hopkins took a plea deal, 20 years in jail, and Adams, who was not physically involved in the altercation, Hopkins had a gun, shot a guy, 20 years. Adams got on top of that, got 14 years in federal prison. Now here's the thing: there was no way this was going to work. For so many reasons. The first of which is there's a paper trail that shows the transaction from one registrar to another. The second is these transfers take like 3 days and you can cancel them in the middle. So the mistake that was made was he didn't just initiate it, let them leave, and then cancel it. But paper trail, easily canceled, call the cops. There was no way this was going to work. It was a dumb plot. And for 20 grand, you go back 100 years and the bank robbers wouldn't have gotten involved for 20 grand, and that's when 20 grand meant something. This is just an all-around bizarre story.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think it's well, I guess if they had made him transfer it and kept him tied up and stayed in his house with him, I guess, for 3 days, kidnapped him for a full 3 days.
Yeah, maybe.
they could have maybe waited for it to go through. That would add even more charges to the list,
Uh-huh.
keeping him kidnapped for several days. Uh, yeah. Well, what this proves is something that we've known for a long time, which is that online virtual things have value in the real world, and just like any valuable object, people will steal and kill and extort for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is the first time I've heard of somebody doing this over a domain name.
Yeah.
But um, you know,
we've seen.
I am sure
We haven't seen necessarily, an armed break-in and robbery, but I mean, we've seen violence break out over things, in rare in-game items for video games that are
right.
totally digital. So yeah, I mean, absolutely,
Right.
digital assets can hold high value, but I'm with you. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've heard of anything anywhere close to this when it comes to a domain name, because they're so easily traceable.
Yeah. So right after this, I'm going to go onto my domain registrar and make sure that my domain name is renewed for the rest of history.
And that you have private registration turned on so that
Yes.
they don't know your address.
I do. I pay extra for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth the 99 cents a year from GoDaddy not to have somebody knock on your door and say, "Give me your domain." Especially when you own
Yeah.
a lot of domains like I do. Another one of those examples of I've got a bit of a problem. I own over 100 domains.
Wow.
So, some of them are weird. I can't say some of them on the air. But anyway, just a weird story. I figured, it's one of our last shows of the year. I have to go out with a weird story. It's no flaming squirrel catches woman's car on fire, but it's up there.
Yeah. No doubt.
I will never forget the flaming squirrel story. One of my favorites of all time. Anyway.
Now, how bad must that guy feel when he's in prison and he has to tell people what he's in for?
Yeah. So I was thinking about that because, it is such a goofy thing in the grand scheme of things. Well, what are you in for? Well, I tried to steal a domain name. What? I don't understand. Can you explain? Yeah, he's going to get razzed. He's going to look like an idiot. And he's going to have to deal with it for 14 years. So, big, dumb decision. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. In addition to your free shipping, there's a lot of stuff you may not know about, like Amazon Prime Music, which gives you several million tracks available to stream for free. And if you want to upgrade to the full Amazon Music Unlimited, you get it for a discount. If you're looking for video to stream movies, TV, documentaries, both original and licensed content, you can use Amazon Prime Video, also included in your subscription. Plus, there's Twitch Prime, which gives you free games every month and the ability to get one free subscription on Twitch, where you can help financially support the content creator of your choice. You can subscribe to us or anybody else and help them out. And we've got quick links to all of those things to make things easier for you. And if you're not already a Prime subscriber, we've also got a 30-day free trial, so you can find out if Amazon Prime is for you. And all of that is available by going to f5live.tv/prime. So speaking of streaming video, we have obviously been talking about it a lot because there have been a lot of services either announced or started over the last just couple of weeks, really. And as we've talked about, as competition kind of heats up and the market gets more crowded, services are doing things to stand out. And one of the companies that's kind of always been a standout has been Hulu, and that's because they offer a subscription for like $5.99 a month with ads similar to TV. Now, over the last couple of years, the number of ads during an ad break have gone up significantly. I remember a time when there was usually one, maybe two, and now it's like watching network television, but you're still getting all of that content for $5.99 or $6.99 a month, rather than 10 or 12 like Netflix, Disney, HBO, whatever the new one's called, Max. So it's way less expensive, but you have to deal with the ads. But in an attempt to differentiate themselves even more, Hulu announced this week that they will be kind of buying into the binge watching idea. And if you are a binge watcher, once you qualify during a session, you will get as they call it, an ad-free experience. But just like any time there's an ad-free experience on broadcast television, there's always a bumper at the top that says this episode brought to you without commercial interruptions by somebody. This will be the same way. They've got 3 big companies on board already: Georgia Pacific, Kellogg's, and Maker's Mark. And they'll choose the right one based on what you're watching. Obviously, if you're watching kids programming, you're not going to see Maker's Mark, but you will probably see Kellogg's in that case. And so, to define binge watching, a binge is 3 episodes of the same series during the same session. So once you've watched 3 episodes, the 4th episode, ad-free, except for that bumper at the top, which a lot of people just sit and let a show run. That could be good. That could be good for a lot of people. Really make that low-end price point even more appealing than it already is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that they're doing that because, I mean, it must be something that the sponsors want more so than that the public asked for, because, I mean, you're still getting a sponsorship. Maybe that persistent sponsorship is actually more valuable.
Could be.
Than the ads that interrupt, because I guess that means you've got a captive audience. They're sitting there, they're watching.
True.
So maybe it's something that those advertisers are paying a premium for. It's hard to believe that they would just do it to be nice.
Oh,
that
for
Hulu
sure.
would just do it to be nice because you're taking people. I mean, generally speaking, it's interesting. I wonder how Netflix and Amazon feel about binge watching. On the one hand, they obviously create a situation that encourages it, because when they release a show, they release all the episodes of the season at once.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike, let's say, Disney Plus, which is releasing The Mandalorian 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
And
or CBS All Access,
which was releasing Star Trek. Yeah. So, you know, if they didn't really want people to binge watch, I guess they wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, it's just, I don't know. Obviously, their financial interest is people watch our stuff, people see the ads.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't see the ad, if it's Netflix or someplace where their subscription, they make only their revenue only through subscription,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know. Maybe their incentive is to have people watch one show a month and not use the bandwidth the rest of the time. But obviously, they know they got to keep people on.
Or the incentive is to keep people engaged with the platform, and so put out, you know, stagger full releases, like what we're talking about. You know, 1 month it'll be, you know, in July it was Stranger Things, and then this month they put out a new season of Nailed It and things. If they keep it staggered, then they can keep people subscribed and then not have to worry about ads.
Yeah. No, no question. Now, the other thing is that there's a bunch of services out there that give you ads and don't charge you anything. And that seems to have proliferated in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like I've watched a lot of shows on Tubi TV and on NBC's app, which is totally free and commercial supported. So
and will be getting better when it becomes Peacock.
Like, yeah. So, but you can watch every episode of the $6 Million Man on there for free.
True.
Right now. You just have to sit through the commercials. And so I mean, I guess this is somewhat nice for the people who are binging things on Hulu, but at the same time, I don't think they would do it unless this was actually a winning way to make money.
Yeah,
because I don't think they were losing any subscribers. Oh, I don't think they were losing any subscribers over. I've watched more than 2 episodes in a session, and I can't bear to have any more commercials.
It depends on how many times you see the same ad in a single session. There is a certain point where you're like, oh my God, if I get one more vodka ad, I'm going to punch my TV.
Well, yeah, part of the problem there, they really ought to do better, is varying up the ads that they serve.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure they have subscription, they have impression goals, and they're just going to burn through however many they can to get to that goal with 1 or 2 advertisers. But I'm sure, I'm not a marketing psychologist, but I'm sure if I was, I would probably say that showing people the same thing over and over and over and over again in a short time span like that is not necessarily a great marketing practice.
It definitely makes me not want to support the company. Like, actively go out of my way not to support the brand. Like, anytime I watch actual broadcast television, it makes me never want to buy a car again. For example. If I'm going to see that Honda Days commercial one more time. So yeah, and granted, my Hulu ad experience is a little dated. The ads were so unvaried at one point that I upgraded and got away from them because during one 30-minute episode, I saw 3 separate, the same ad 3 different times for some vodka company, and that was the end of it for me. I'm like, all right, obviously nobody's buying ads through Hulu right now, and it's killing me. I gotta do something, and I did.
It should have a real world cookie. Like, if you're actually drinking the vodka, it shouldn't show it to you.
Or if you don't drink at all, and it's just a waste of ad dollars, like it is for me.
Yes.
I even posted on Facebook. I'm like, Hulu, please stop telling me about rotten potato juice. Or it was on Twitter, and they responded, which was wonderful. I never saw the ad again, though. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see, what happens here, if anything. If, will it change anything? I don't know. But it'll be nice for those who are, especially if you have the $6 plan in conjunction with something, right? Like if you're a Spotify subscriber and you got the free Hulu account, or you're a Sprint subscriber and you got the free Hulu account, or you went and you did the Disney Plus bundle, which had Disney Plus and Hulu, and you got the ESPN basically for free. If you did that, then that's also the $6 plan. There's going to be a lot of people who are kind of on it as a bonus for something else. And so this might make their experience on the platform better. So that would be nice to see too. But no telling how people are going to respond to it in the real world. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We had some people in particular on YouTube talking to us. And I just want to, one more time, we talked about it last week, I want to mention again, yes, the Monster Luminescence stuff is still in progress. Customs took our box and has delayed the delivery. Both the US and the Chinese customs have delayed it. So we're doing what we can there. And yes, there's a comment from Haley in the chat room. There's probably millions of people that got that for Christmas for their kids. So I'd imagine y'all's views are going to spike to the max come Christmas. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's millions. I calculated that there were probably 250,000 units across the Walmart. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people coming back after Christmas. That'll be the second wave of people frustrated. But hopefully we will have some sort of resolution in the next 10 days, I hope, because I am done talking about it. And so with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next time. Ciao.